Yo, it's your boy Oz, and this is a video of what I want to see changed in Pirate 101 or added as a KI lover, but I'm not a sweat. And this is an update as of July 8th, 2026. And I want to preface this and say this is a wish list split into 4 different categories, but these are not all original ideas. I did get a lot of inspo from other people, mainly these two right here, and they have plenty of videos ranting about what needs to be changed in Pirate 101. So shout out to my boy Emotion, I think, and then Fearsome Rubber Ducky. He's like the #1 guy for this. And I just like to say I'm just another messenger, and I want to be more a part of the community because I really do love this game. I've been playing on and off for about 8 to 9 years, and I can't seem to get off it. I don't know why. So here is my experience of playing this game. Okay. So also, if you guys want to speed this video up in ×2, 1.5, whatever, that's cool with me. It's gonna be a longer video, so that's fine. All right. So my name is Os once again. I like to say I'm the Rajon Rondo of Pirate 101, if y'all know who that is. But this is my experience. I have 3 level 70 plus builds. I've been playing on and off for about 8 to 9 years. I've only beaten Kane once, and that's on my Musketeer, and that was 3 days ago. So my furthest run right now is in Sinbad. So just to preface, I play this game a lot, but I'm not a sweat at all. I'm a sweat in terms of like I know how the game works. I just don't take the time to grind certain things. I don't grind pets, all of that. So I don't open packs, none of that. So I do open a little bit of packs just for fun, but I don't like spend like more than $20 doing that. You know what I mean? And I've only done that like maybe twice. So that's me. And this I have a Musketeer, Privy, and Buccaneer that are all level 70 plus, and then I have a Swash that's level 40 right now that I've been working on for about a week. And then I do plan to make a witch one of these days, but that's just me right now, okay? So these are split into 4 categories. So obvious problems with proposed solutions, and you guys can read and try to get a sneak peek. Quality of life changes, and then these are added mechanics or reworks, okay? So let's just start with the obvious problems with proposed solutions because these are the most talked about things in the community. I am in the Discord too. So I am a little bit tapped in. I'm not too tapped in, but I'm a little tapped in. So #1, gold cap increase. So the gold cap right now is at 250K, right? So I'm not too much of a gamer and I didn't really look too much in the logistics of what would happen if we did increase the gold. But I do know it's like an economy type of thing. So with KI, if you guys ever watch this, I do understand that. So just so you guys know, I'm not really taking into account economical issues, but I am proposing a couple of gold dump solutions. And as far as the gold cap increase, you can make it whether it's 500K, like which would be double, or a million, whatever. But I had a couple of solutions. Option to use gold instead of crowns for dungeon chests. So if you guys don't know what dungeon chests are, you guys can, after you finish a longer dungeon like Miranda or Kane, for example, there's a little chest, and then you could click it and you could roll for good loot and pet snacks and whatever, all that stuff for like crowns. And then if you don't like your roll, you can re-roll again for a little bit more crowns, and then a little bit more crowns, a little bit more crowns. What if we had the option to use that for gold, right? Now you can make it expensive, obviously, like maybe 50K, then to 100K, then to 150K, something like that. But what if we had that option? Because there's people out there that grind the same dungeons every single day, right? So might as well incentivize them to go do that, right? Okay. Use gold to buy fire cosmetics. And what I mean by that is like stuff that are strictly cosmetics, like the face paints and stuff. Like I said, I'm not too tapped in, so I wouldn't be able to name by item. But the crown shop items that glow, you know what I mean? Those items, if we could buy those for gold just to stitch, not to buy the item out on crowns, to your inventory and use it. You need crowns for that. That's cool. But just to stitch, because there's a lot of free to play weapons that are cool, or that are decent enough, not cool. But then you could stitch it for the one that glows, the sword that glows, for example, or the orb of nefarious death. That's really cool. And you know what I'm saying? We could stitch those for gold, but you gotta buy those with crowns. So that's another gold dump. So gold dump increase that about finishes it. And then now I'm gonna go to too difficult to get a good pet. And I like to preface this also that a lot of these solutions tie in together. So the gold dump stuff will be mentioned plenty times around here. So here's another one, guys. Number 2, too difficult to get a good pet. As you guys know, Valencia Part 2 and anything following that, the game gets mad difficult. Like, this is supposed to be a kid's game for the most part, and some of these fights are too difficult. And if, like, I'm a 7-year-old who doesn't understand too much of the mechanics of the game, it's too difficult. Obviously, it's been mentioned that Valencia and all of that is going to get reworked. That's not what I'm talking about right here, right now. I'm talking about the items that I need to have a better fighting chance. And one of those items, as you guys know, is a good pet. So, as you guys know, the pet system is mad difficult in Pirate, and it's completely RNG, which is crazy. I do not mind the pet grind. I believe you could take long to grind the pet, but it should be more accessible. So, here are some solutions. Gold for snack packs to get bigger snacks for bigger XP. That should be easy. I shouldn't have to pay the crowns for the mega snack pack. Make the RNG for grants less. Grants meaning grant epics, grant powers. Your pet can give you that. So if you have Overwatch 3, you get a grant Overwatch, then you get Overwatch 4. Pretty simple stuff. The RNG needs to be a little bit less. It should still be difficult because OP pets should be rare, but it should be a little bit more accessible. So if, let's say, for example, if the percentage is 1, make it like 10. You know what I mean? For like the really decent or whatever. For the S tier stuff, make it 10%. Here's a good one. An option for specific class pets to be bought for gold. So if you go to Bestia, I want you guys to imagine being able to buy a Musketeer pet that has the chance to grant Overwatch, Burst Fire, and the agility boost, or a Buccaneer pet that does Blade Storm, Relentless, or a Swashbuckler pet for what's it called, Riposte, First Strike, grants, and stuff like that, and a Witch Doctor pet, and so on and so forth, are for gold. So I know in the PvP area you could buy some for script, but make an option for gold. It's just another gold dump that adds to the economy. What's it called? So then I'm able to have more access to more chances, because if I'm a Musketeer and I get a Grant Blade Storm, I don't need that. I'm trying to shoot for Grant Overwatch or Grant Burst Fire, stuff like that. So I want to be able to have to know that I might at least get that for sure. Right now it's random. You know what I mean? So if I'm rolling the dice on a million pets and I might not get it even on a million. So I need to at least know that what I'm grinding for is worth it. Now this might be like out of pocket, but I believe we should take out the energy pot. I should be able to train as many pets as I want, no matter how many pets it is. That should be a given. You could still leave the time for the exercises and stuff like that. I don't mind that. But the fact that if I run out of my energy pot, I gotta wait till tomorrow, it just makes the pet process way, way long. It doesn't need to be that long. Now, I don't know if this is against terms of service and stuff like that, but in the Discord, there are designated pet grinders. Honestly, I was thinking about it myself. I wouldn't mind paying them like 25 or whatever price that they have in real money just to get a good OP pet. I don't know if that's against terms of service or whatever, so you guys can just scrap that idea if that's the case. But if it's not, if somebody has an OP pet like this, I'll pay 100 for it. That's how much I love this game. You know what I'm saying? So that's would add to a little bit of a mini economy outside of the in-game economy. Other games like Counter-Strike and other MMOs like that, cosmetics or whatever, where they have crazy cosmetics or crazy loot pools and stuff like that, people pay real money to go have access to those items. I believe that should be a thing that we do also with Pirate 101. Now, in conclusion, I don't need an OP pet. but I wouldn't mind a decent one. On the left here is a freaking ridiculously OP pet. Bladestorm Relentless, Repel, First Strike, and Turn the Tide 2. Or grants Turn the Tide and Elusive. That pet is ridiculous. This is like the best possible melee pet. Probably just needs riposte. Now this on the right side is a decent pet. This is a pet that could get you Bladestorm 4, Bladestorm 5. That's more than enough for some people. But even getting a pet like this on the right is still mad difficult and takes mad time. So that's too much. I should be able to get a pet like this like nothing. And then a pet like this will take time on the left. Let me say that again. A pet on the right should be accessible, easy. A pet on the left, cool. I'll grind for that. All right, next one. Obvious and has been talked about in the community for a long time. I'm going to zoom in so y'all don't see what's on the left side. Valencia Part 2 is difficult, but I know there's been a lot of comments about that, and what's it called? That's already possibly getting reworked. I do not mind how fast the Valencia Part 2 is, but the fights are ridiculous. Okay. These are things that have been talked about already by Ducky and Motion, so shout out to them. And then this is something that I know Motion has talked about, the Luka Doncic of Power 101. I'm gonna just call him Luka. I don't know if he wants me to call him Motion, so I'm gonna just call him Luka. So let me check my audio real quick, yo. I do not know if it's rolling, so hopefully it's rolling. Hang on. Hang on, y'all. Okay, it's rolling. Perfect. So let's continue. Okay. Paywall needs to be added a little later in order to gain more of a player base. Okay. If you guys don't know, for new Pirate 101 players, or I mean, most of y'all already know this, but what's it called? The paywall is like an hour into the game. Now, here's the biggest problem with that. In order for people to keep playing a game, they need to love the game. I can't love a game in an hour. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is where I believe the paywall should be. It needs to be in the beginning or the middle of Monquista. And that means it gives the game maybe 8 hours worth of gameplay. But most importantly, it allows the pirate to experience going to a different world, promoting companions, which is a big deal in this game, and it creates relationships with what you want to see and stuff like that. Imagine not seeing your starter companion turn into its promo tool. You won't like your companion. You know what I'm saying? You get to see but if the game paywall goes to Monquisa, you'll be able to see Bonnie promote, Ratbeard promote, obviously your starter one, and then your Presidio companion as well. That's 4 promotions and 4 potential ways to keep people around. You know what I'm saying? You also get a new ship. You get 2 new ships. That's a big deal too, because this is a pirate game at the end of the day. Getting 2 new ships is a big deal. And then obviously going to a different skyway is the biggest one. You don't get to see that with the original paywall. So as you guys know, Wizard 101, the sister game, they moved the paywall from Firecat Alley to the end of Skull Island. Or the end of Skull Island, the end of Wizard City. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, so comment to me if I'm wrong, but that's more than enough time for people to love their school, for people to love the fighting system and stuff like that. That needs to be treated the same way with Pirates so that we could get more players on here. It's not even more so about getting the game longer or whatever. It's getting more players on here because I know that's an issue. Okay. The epic system needs to be reworked. Motion makes a video on that. Very in-depth, and I'm not going to go too much about it, but yes, it needs to be reworked because there is an obvious meta, but the obvious meta is some classes are way too overpowered, and everyone's going to start making them and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. I personally do not mind that, but most players would get bored from seeing the same Overwatch 5 build, Ready to Spell 5 build, or hybrids, or stuff like that. Like I said, It doesn't matter to me, but I'm looking at the main player base here, which is not super super sweaty people. 10% of us are sweaty, 90% of us or 80% of us are like not too sweaty, and then the other 10% where I fall in is right in the middle of that. Okay, so that's what I gotta say about that. So now let's slide over to the left. Quality of life changes. Now I'm going to keep on adding to this because I thought of a bunch of ideas before, but I kind of forgot. So this is all I have for now. It's a little bit smaller, but here we go. Quality of life. So this is basically stuff that just makes the game more smoother, makes the game more faster, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Makes it easier, buttons and whatever, whatnot. Okay. Now, there needs to be a game speed increase option for certain aspects of the game. One thing is fights. There's a lot of filler fights in this game. Now imagine if there was a 1.5x speed or 2x speed to every single fight that you want. Just cause. Now I know some fights are important, like Kane, Deacon, stuff like that. But if some people don't care about that stuff, give them the option to speed the game up. Because a fight that should, like filler fights, like those quests where you have to defeat something and then collect something. Those type of quests take a while sometimes, and it's the same fight over and over again, and it's just too repetitive, and it's just nuance. So like give us the ability to speed that up. 2x max. It doesn't need to be like 3x, but 2x at least. Okay. Another aspect of the game is when using the win lanes. When you're regularly not in the win lanes, that's cool. I don't have to speed it up. But if I'm sitting in the win lane to get from one side of Monquista to the other, give me the option to speed the game up right then and there. Because that's just dead time. That is literally the definition of dead time. That should not be in the game, if you ask me. Now, ship fights. If I'm fighting the same 10 cutthroat ships to get something, let me speed that up too. 2x speed, but mind you, this increases the speed for them too. So I'm not trying to make myself overpowered. I'm just literally trying to speed up the game. And that's all about it for speed, okay? Number 2, each world needs the fast travel guy, not just the big ones. Now, Mushu, Cool Ranch, Aquila have one. I'm not sure if I'm missing one, but I'm pretty sure they have one. Skull Island for sure needs one. I shouldn't need to go all the way to Jonatown on a ship. Now, for example, a level 7 trying to promote Bonnie Ann has to go to Jonatown like 3 times. And if they don't know how to use their waypoint, the X marks the spot thingy on the bottom left, that is a lot of dead travel time just for a level 2 promo. Think about it. There needs to be a stagecoach in Skull Island for sure. Monquista and Marleybone, whatever, if you don't want to pull one. But Skull Island needs one for sure. But I just believe every world needs one. It's just a lot of nuanced dead time that we don't need because we're going to be on the skyways anyway fighting ships because that's a lot of the questing. So it doesn't matter. So this is just a way to make the game more smoother for us, okay? I think this is a must. This is a must for sure. Being able to go to Port Regal or Trader's Cove, those all need stagecoaches. Like, because those are a lot of places that you go later game. Okay. These are just smaller stuff that you can add into the game if you want, but a sell all option, that's pretty self-explanatory. There should be a button for fill fuel, the boost fuel, and then a mojo bottle. There should be a button for that. I shouldn't need to go to the NPCs for that. Now you could keep the NPCs there, but I believe there should be a button for it. Now, Crown Shop pack items should be available in store and not RNG. I don't mind if they are expensive, but I do want to be able to experience using the Draconian companions, for example, or maybe the Feeding Frenzy axe. If you want to if you want to make them expensive, that's cool, but please do put them in the Crown Shop because I shouldn't have to open 50 packs just to try and pull one. That's crazy. It should be accessible to everyone. If you want to make them for crowns, that's cool, but it should be accessible to everybody just with a button. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now that's about it for quality of life. And now let's slide over to my favorite part, which is added mechanics and or reworks. Okay. So most of these, or I think some of these, I did our original ideas. If they are not, and you were the first to claim these ideas, please put it in the comments and give yourself a shout out. But If not, I'm gonna say these are my ideas. All right. So add a rebirth pirate. Okay. Now in this picture, if you guys don't know, this is 2K. So reward the players that no left the game and want to try other builds or classes. Okay. This is what I mean by that. Okay. For example, in 2K, when you reach level 90 or level 90, when you reach a 90 overall, your next build that you make, let's say you make a point guard, let's say you want to make a center, you're able to start him, basically jumpstart him, right? So what that means is 10% faster badge progression and max overall unlocked already, and then badges. And then so on and so forth for 2 builds, and so on and so forth for 3 builds. So then by the time people it reach legend rebirth, these are the people that no life the game, that play every single day. They honestly should be rewarded. A lot of people hate on them. They should be rewarded in every single game. And KI and Pyro 101 is no what's it called? No different. Now imagine this in Pirate 101. In I'm talking about this in the Pirate 101 sense. KI, imagine this in Wizard. If once you reach like level 100, or not even level 100, let's say once you beat Malistaire on your fire build, then you could start Storm, Life, Ice, whatever, and they start in Crocotopia. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. Now in the sense of Pirate 101, and then this is what should happen. Once they beat Kane, once we beat Kane once, we should have the option to rebirth. Now, with the rebirth, instead of just starting ahead, like for example, starting in Monquista or starting in Cool Ranch, something like that, there should be another incentive as well. We should also have maybe boosted stats, maybe boosted spooky or boosted dodge, something so like those type of stats. You know what I mean? Instead of 5%, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15, something like that. Or maybe a pirate that is just has boosted gold for the rest of its playtime. Imagine if I had a designated musketeer just to gold farm. You know what I'm saying? That would be crazy. Then I would go on that just to gold farm for my other pirates and stuff like that. And then I'm forced to play the game more and more and more, because then I get to play with a swashbuckler build that has 15% spooky, which changes the game. And then that just incentivizes me for playing the game a lot, because I do play the game a lot already. I should be rewarded for that. And that's what I got to say about that. That's Rebirth Pirate. I believe this should be in the game ASAP, because yeah, that should be in the game ASAP. Okay, now here is my absolute favorite one, and this one is long. Okay, every companion needs to be decent. Okay, let me just say that again. Every companion needs to be decent, to add more different strategies to the game and playstyles, also to steer away from the obvious metas and encourage people to use companions because they are their favorite based on cosmetics, based on looks, based on storyline, whatever. Okay, now let me separate it. Filler companions need to be viable, just decent, maybe average, above average. And storyline companions need to be just as good as the main ones. And what I mean by that is Catbeard needs to be as good as Toro. Dead Mike needs to be as good as Toro. Lucky Jack needs to be as good as Toro. All the Magnificent Seven that are part of Cool Ranch need to be as good as Toro. Monkey King needs to be as good as Toro. Now, all these people have storylines, and they have what's it called? They are one part of the main storyline, and they have a lot of like where they speak. Like they have chat lines. I don't know what the term is for that. Like Catbeard talks a lot and is part of El Pollo's crew. He should be just as good as Bonnie, because that's how important he is. Who's another one? Anybody as a part of what's it called? El Pollo's crew should be just as good. Magnificent Seven. Excuse me, sorry. Bat Masterson is hella good. The other ones need to be just as good as him. Lucky Jack and all the Presidio dungeon people, they need to be just as good. You know what I'm saying? Monkey King, who is important for the whole Mushu storyline, needs to be just as good. And he only has a one crit strike. He needs to be just as good. Now, I'm not saying make them overpowered, but they need to be just as good, especially the main storyline people. Now, the other filler companions like Tyson, the chicken, and then all the nuanced random ones that you get throughout Mushu and Aquila and stuff like that, they need to be just okay. They need to have boosted stats or more epics or something like that. But the storyline companions, they need powers, they need all that stuff. Okay? Now, here are some proposed solutions for that to add on top of this theory that I have, okay? There needs to be added team synergy. Now, what does that mean? If they are from the same species, same world, same class, they need to get a boost, right? Same species, what does that mean? That means if they're all chickens, they should get a boost. That means if they're all from Cool Ranch, because they're from the same world, they should get a boost. Same class, all Buccaneers, they should get a boost. All Musketeers, they should get a boost. For example, imagine the teams that you can make with this new added clause, with the team synergy clause. Okay? Chicken team, Cool Ranch. Now you got the pirate faction, Bonnie, Dead Mike, and then this is supposed to say Ratbeard. So Ratbeard. And then now, bad guys. Imagine a team with Finn, Ratbeard, Cortez, or anybody from the Yakuza. That would get a boost. That's crazy. Now team synergy wise, some of these teams might be trash, but imagine what that looks like if you're playing the game. Imagine a full monkey team. Look at this. Imagine a full monkey team. Look how sick that looks. Now, let me scroll to the right. Imagine a full Mushu team. Right? Now, obviously, you can't get all three of these. You have to pay crowns for two of them. But imagine this. This is the Furious Five from Kung Fu Panda. Literally. Right? Imagine this like on your board, right? Instead of using El Toro, Bonnie, like the same companions that we see every single day. Chantal, right? It adds more variety for some people that get bored, right? Because if I'm using the same three companions since the beginning of the game, I'm gonna get bored if I don't love this game, right? Now, preface this. Sweats and people like me are going to play this game regardless. But the 80% of the people who don't get the chance to try this variety and stuff like that will not play the game if Bonnie, Chantal, and Old Scratch are all they're using every single game. Every single fight, every single game, that's what they're using, okay? Now, how would it work? They need to add a window or a tab of potential combos and what stats, powers, and epics they could be missing out on by not doing it, okay? So this is what a broken down character or companion looks like, right? They need to add an extra tab right here, just on the bottom of where it says talents. And then it needs to say potential combos, potential epics, whatever, something like that, or potential. And then it needs to say like requires so-and-so. And then repost 1, grayed out, agility boost, grayed out, something like that. So you guys get the picture, right? They need to add that in here. And then if this does get added into the game, this just adds another aspect of fighting and just changes the whole strategy of how Pirate 101 is played, because right now we all play it the same. Like I'm not going to say that I don't. I play it the same as all the sweats. It's Old Scratch bombs. That's it. I play it like that too. And mind you, I don't get bored of it because it's fun. Other people will. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be able to get these type of combos and then get rewarded for it, bro. Imagine this monkey team, bro. This monkey team looks crazy. Imagine that. And then now, because they're on a team, they all get relentless. They all get blade storm. They all get boosted somehow. Something like that needs to be added into the game. Okay. Now, here is another rework that I believe should be added into the game. Dungeon rework. And honestly, it's not just dungeons, it's dungeon grinding. So let me add that in there. Dungeon grinding rework. Okay, now dungeon grinding, what does that mean? That means if you play the same dungeon and get one item, right? Okay, after a set amount of completed dungeon runs, there should be a claim window in a separate tab that allows you to choose one of the random S plus tier items available to you. And then you can reroll for gold and or crowns. Okay, what does that mean and what does that look like, right? If I run Kane 25 times to get one item and I still don't get it, that's bull. And we all know that's bull. There should be another additional chance to get these items. And what would that look like? I believe we should put it in the emblems or the badges tab. So there needs to be an additional window right here that says dungeons. And then it's going to look like this. So right now it says Lord of the Apes, right? So imagine it said Kane dungeon, for example, and then it says defeat Kane or defeat Kane 20 times, 10 times, 15 times, whatever y'all want to make it. And then there's a bar that shows how many times you've completed it already, and then what you need to complete it for, and then the reward will be a random roll, and then it'll say claim when it's ready to be claimed, and then this is what it'll look like. Boom, I just got 4 items that I could then claim one of them. And these are obviously not from Kane's dungeon, but I'm just using these as an example, right? Imagine you run your dungeon 20 times and you still don't get what you need. And I'm not even talking about what you need for your class. I'm talking about what you need for any class in general. That's ridiculous, right? This should be an option, because then this encourages more dungeon grinding, which then encourages group play, which then encourages more people to play the game because they're playing with people. That is what it should be right here. Boom. 25 out of 25. I click claim. I get to grab Anubis, this turban, inflated hat, or Kane's robe. Boom. That's crazy. Isn't this an amazing idea? Now, if this is bad for the economy, tell me in the comments, right? But I don't think this would mess anything up. And then there would be an option to re-roll this one time, just re-roll once for 100k gold or 1,000 crowns. And then obviously the go back option for if you need to go sell some stuff to go get some gold. And now, these don't even need to be items. You can even add cosmetic items in here and pets or mounts, right? KI, this needs to be added into the game, because let me tell you why. I was grinding for Eye of the Cobra, and it took me 40 plus runs to get it. I stopped tracking it. It was easily maybe 50 runs to get Eyes of the Cobra, which is just first strike, right? That is crazy. I shouldn't need to run 40 plus times to get Eye of the Cobra. There needs to be this option in here, okay? By adding this system into the game, it puts more incentive on people to grind, right? Which then equals to more people playing. Obviously, the more S tier items can still be a rare roll, but it needs to be more accessible, right? Now, this item right here, Kane's robe, which is one of the best items in the game, let's say it's at a 1%, you could keep it at 5, right? Or maybe keep it at 1, but there's still 4 chances to get it. It just needs to be more accessible, right? Because if I'm getting it 1% every single time I run, that's crazy. On the 25th run, I should have that at like a 5%. You know what I'm trying to say? Does that make sense? Okay. Anyway, that's it for the dungeon grinding rework, okay? Boom. Group play. Okay? Group play. Group play. What do I mean by group play? That means playing with 4 other people, 3 other people, whatever, okay? Now, it needs to be more accessible and more encouraged. Now, let me preface by saying this. I know the player base for this game is small. I know it is. And I know it's smaller than Wiz. I know it's smaller than a lot of games, right? I understand that, right? But here are some possible solutions that I thought of that may fix it, okay? This game is very easy to do solo, which means that's only one person to play with. I can't play this with the homie and be like, yo, I need you to play with me to do this, unless it's a hard dungeon. I can't quest with the homie because I don't need him to quest with the homie, right? So that to progress through the game, I don't need an extra person, right? So this is a solution for that. Add a more frequent party finder window to the HUD, right? Now there's already a party finder like button in Skull Island, or like a totem that you could go to that puts you in parties. But it needs to be more accessible. And what I mean by more accessible is it needs to pop up as its own separate window on the left, so that you know who in what area is questing where, is ship fighting where, is dungeon fighting where, right? Now, here to add on to that, it needs to pop up when someone is doing a similar quest to you, or is someone in the same server as you, and or the same area as you. For example, if I'm fighting Marley Bone ships and I need 8 of them, and somebody on a different server is also doing that, a pop-up should pop up, hey, wanna cabin up so we could get this shit done quicker? Yes, sign me up for that, because that's a filler quest that needs to be done quicker. Now, games like World of Warcraft do that already because there's a lot of filler quests in there. They make those party finder stuff way, 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 way accessible, right? Now, our group finder for specific dungeons needs to be more encouraged and easily more accessible with a button. And what I mean by that, it needs to show up in the chat. It needs to show up in that window that I'm talking about on the HUD. If I'm grinding Kane and I'm looking for a group, I need to be able to spread that to every single person who's down to do Kane, and also every single person looking to do Kane. It needs to show up more frequently. It needs to show up more often. It needs to show up right in my face, so it could encourage group play, because a lot of Valencia Part 2, as I've been saying, needs a group. It's hard to do solo, and people in the same spot on the same quest and stuck and stuff like that need to be able to find groups way, 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 way easier, okay? Now, if I am playing in the group, make the loot drops more worthwhile, but on the flip side, if I am playing in a group, make it harder if you want, right? Now, obviously, there's a balance. Don't make the people OP, but make it harder, because I am playing with more OP people and stuff like that. Make it harder for us. Now, this is World of Warcraft, but this is what it looks like, the party finder. It's literally a window, right? And you click like the P button for it. Dungeon finder. You click this dungeon finder, and then search up whatever dungeon. Kane, Miranda, Obsidian dungeons, the Zigzag dungeons, all of that. You could put all that stuff here, and then be like, oh, I'm looking for 2. And then look, this group right here, they have 3 Buccaneers, for example. I could join it. I'm a Musketeer. Or I could message them and be like, hey, I'm a Witch Doctor. Do you guys want me? Boom. Add this aspect into the game, and I promise you more people will play the game. I promise you, okay? That's about it, guys. So let me zoom out, okay? Now let me say this. Oh shoot. Let me say this to y'all, guys. I will make this an open link for you guys to look at. On this is done all on Canva, so I will make this a link that you guys can look at and explore once I post this video. And I will be adding onto this going down, right? And then right here it says, as of July 8, 2026, I will be updating this as much as possible when I think of more ideas and stuff like that going down. Or maybe I'll change the color of the font according to when I update it, right? So, guys, let me preface this by saying this to KI. KI, if you watch this video, first of all, thank you. But let me say this. I know it's difficult, and you guys are doing the best you guys can. And a lot of the ask I'm asking for is really difficult stuff. But I do believe that this will create a bigger player base, and I know that's the biggest issue right now, right? And I know it's a lot of asks, and a lot of this stuff is easy, a lot of this stuff is harder, right? But a lot of it revolves around the fact that we need a bigger community in game. We need a bigger community in game. I shouldn't have to go to my community on Discord. I should be able to go interact more with the community in the game, which will then add more people, more incentive for people to play. You know what I'm saying? When you're playing with your friends, it's more fun. That's just what it is. But when 95% of the game I can do solo, right? When 95% of the game I could do it alone, and then once I hit the 5%, it gets super hard, and I need to start grinding a pet. I need to start grinding for specific dungeons. It becomes hard. It becomes hard for solo players, and we don't have enough incentive to group play in this game. So that needs to be added into the game. Everything here I believe should be added into the game. Right? Now, that's about it, y'all. So comment below if you guys have any additional ideas or any comments about what I've talked about. And that's about it, yo. So I will also timestamp everything. So you guys can just click through. Okay. All right. So it's been us, Rajan Rondo of Pirate 101. Let's get it.